First of all, on behalf of my wife and my sons, and on behalf of my other family, our people at the Office of Chief Medical Examiner, we wish to extend our deepest sympathies to the families and everyone else who has been so hurt by this event. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you. The Office of Chief Medical Examiner got here, actually the Chief Medical Examiner, got here a couple hours after the building was secured. We were here until approximately 12:30 last night. We thank the emergency services who built us a temporary facility in the parking lot, and we took identification photographs and did preliminary identification on all victims and had everybody transported back to Farmington by about 1 in the morning. Our entire staff turned out, started the postmortem examinations this morning. We completed the children by about 1:30, and I believe everybody except the assailant and his mother will be finished tonight, and I'll do those tomorrow morning. Lieutenant Vance and staff have a list of the names and the dates of birth. Anything else on there?
No, sir.
No. And that'll be distributed. Hope we got enough copies. Everybody, death was caused by, everyone that we've completed so far was caused by gunshot wounds. And obviously the manner of death on all these cases has been classified as homicide.
How many medical examiners work today, sir?
I have 4 doctors, and I think all 10 of my technicians, both the full-timers and part-timers, were there. And one student from Quinnipiac University, this was her first day. That was kind of interesting. And the majority of our investigative staff were working on this at some point, whether they were with us last night or on the job today. And I think a lot of our clerical or what they call processing techs who do the paperwork and so forth were there. They're up all on the second floor, and I didn't get there today.
Sir, you obviously, by the nature of your job, you deal with horrible things at times. Is this one over the top? Is this one a bit different than things you've dealt with before, sir?
Did everybody hear the question?
No.
Given what I deal with all the time, is this one over the top? I've been at this for a third of a century. And it's my sensibilities may not be the average man, but this probably is the worst I have seen, or the worst that I know of any of my colleagues having seen. And that all the more makes me proud and grateful to our staff, who, to a man, have just behaved most professionally and strongly. And I hope they and I hope the people of Newtown don't have it crash on their head later.
Doctor, on that examination, could you tell which caliber of the handgun compared to the rifle of these shooting victims were from this incident?
It's a good thing there's not being prosecution, because then I couldn't answer that. But all the wounds that I know of at this point were caused by the long weapon.
So the rifle was the primary weapon?
Yes.
And what caliber were the bullets?
Question was, what caliber were these bullets? And I probably know more about firearms than most pathologists, but if I say it in court, they yell at me and don't make me answer. So I'll let the police deal with that for you.
Doctor, can you tell about the nature of the wounds? Were they at very close range? Were the children shot from across the room? Can you tell?
I only did 7 of the autopsies. The victims I had ranged from 3 to 11 wounds apiece, and I only saw 2 of them with close-range shooting. But that's that's a sample. I really don't have detailed information on the rest of the injuries.
But you said it was the long rifle that was used?
Yes.
To shoot? I thought the long rifle was discovered in the car. That's not correct.
It's not correct, sir.
To follow up on that question, how many bullets casing the fragments did you find total on the autopsy? Can you tell us that?
Oh, I'm lucky I can tell you how many I found. I don't know. There were lots of them. Okay. This type of weapon is not. The bullets are designed in such a fashion that the energy. This is very clinical. I shouldn't be saying this, but the energy is deposited in the tissue, and so the bullet stays in.
Doctor, did children die quickly? Are you able to tell that from
It's always a difficult question, and obviously I don't have. I don't have detailed information on all of them, but this is a very devastating set of injuries.
Did they suffer?
I don't. The best of my ability to answer that question, which is always less than perfect. If so, not for very long.
Well, most of the injuries.
All the ones. I believe so. Yes.
What time?
In what shape were the bodies of the families were brought forward to identify?
We did not bring the bodies and the families into contact. We took pictures of them, of their facial features. You have it's easier on the families when you do that. There is a time and a place for up close and personal in the grieving process. But to accomplish this, we felt it would be best to do it this way, and you can sort of you can control the situation depending on your photographer, and I have very good photographers. But
you know the difference in the time of death between the body that was recovered from the house and the bodies that were recovered from the scene?
No, I don't.
How young?
Sorry, I don't.
How young was the youngest victim, doctor, and how old was the oldest victim?
Y'all going to have to look at the spreadsheet when we pass it out. I'm sorry.
That you dealt with.
Was it the
All the ones I dealt with were all first. Everybody I dealt with, I believe they're all first graders.
Did the gunman kill himself with the rifle?
No, I don't know yet. I'll examine him tomorrow morning, but I don't think so.
Can you discuss the injuries or the fatal injuries?
I have not seen her yet.
In terms of the children, were they found all in one location, in one classroom, or?
Guys, what are we releasing on that? Okay. The Paul and company will deal with that. Paul and company, Lieutenant Vance is going to handle that one.
You said that all of the children that you personally examined were shot multiple times. Is that the case for all of the children?
We discussed this briefly with the staff before I came here. There was, I believe everybody was hit more than once.
Was there any evidence of a struggle, any bruises, or?
In terms of the nature of the shooting, and was there any sense that there was a lot of care taken to precision from the shooter, or was it spread somewhat randomly?
Both? It's a very difficult question to answer. Okay?
Even the wounds?
Yeah. It's really... You'd think after the thousands of people I've seen shot, I could answer that question, but if I attempted to answer it in court, there'd be an objection and they'd win.
Doctor, can you describe, you said you did 7 personally. What these kids looked like when they came to you? What were they wearing? Can you describe what
They're wearing cute kid stuff. I mean, they're first graders. They're wearing cute kid stuff. You know? It's the kind of stuff you'd send your kids or your grandkids out the door to first grade in.
Doctor, can you fatal injuries to the adults?
They're similar to those of the children.
Doctor, the children that you autopsied, where on the bodies were those wounds?
All over. All over.
What about his mother?
Pardon? I have not examined her yet. That'll be tomorrow morning.
Were they sitting at desks, or were they running away when this happened?
I'll let the guys the scene guys address that issue. Okay. Obviously, I was at the scene. Obviously, I'm very experienced in that. But there are people who are the number one professionals in that. I'll let them handle it.
Doctor, you said that the bodies that you examined, the 7 had 3 to 11 shots.
And that's just the ones that I did. Yeah.
Just the one you examined. So this man was they're shooting repeatedly.
I think the guys who did the crime scene are going to be able to tell you something about how many cartridges were found.
Was there a protocol for how you the order you did the autopsies, like the mother and the...
Our goal was to get the kids out and available to the funeral directors first, just for, obvious reasons.
How many boys and how many girls?
I have no idea.
Doctor,
I don't know.
You said before when I asked you about, you said a third of a century, this is the worst you've seen. I know you're a professional again, and I know you have a veneer that you put up. Were you emotional at any point? Did this get to you at any point where you had to fight back tears?
Not yet. Okay? But, there have been times in my career when for reasons I don't appreciate, go in the locker room and sit down and cry. But, and I think if you don't have to do that, you shouldn't be in this business. But for this one, not yet. Notice I said yet. Okay. All right, folks. Thank you very much.
Can you say it's for your name?
Yeah, sure. I hope you all put this in your calendar, because in 31 years and 26 as chief medical examiner, this is only the second press conference I've given. It's H. Wayne, W-A-Y-N-E, Carver, C-A-R-V-E-R, and it's the second. And that's why I don't use the H, because when my father asked my grandfather, he said, fine, but as long as you never call him Harold.
So can you just, real quickly, you said, did they set up a tent in the parking lot?
It wasn't a tent. It was this magnificent thing. It's sectional, and it sticks together with Velcro, and then they stake it to the ground, and electricity and lights and heat appear. It's from the Department of Emergency Management, and I think it came from the Army, but I'm not sure. I think it's these things that they use to set up field hospitals very quickly, mobile hospitals.
And have all the children's bodies been returned to the parents or mortuaries?
I don't know. The mortuaries have all been called.
Yeah.
But
they're ready to be released, these bodies.
The paperwork's been done as of 1:30. The paperwork is done then, and if the usual drill is the funeral homes call us, and as soon as the paperwork's done, we call them back. That process was completed for the children at 1:30 today.
And you transported the bodies to where?
To our office in Farmington.
Farmington. Okay. How did you transport them?
We have our transport vehicles.
How many vehicles?
We have 3 vehicles and a lot of guys that drive them.
These vans,
we're actually, one of the highlights of my administration is that we make them as nondescript and unmarked as possible. It's to foil you guys. No, they started out at 6.
When you remove the bodies, can you tell us how the numbers were coming out of the 2 classrooms of the victims? Were most of the victims in both of those classrooms?
I don't have the differential between the 2 classrooms.
And the adults, were the majority of the adults found in the front office or in the classrooms?
I'm gonna let the police handle that, because they're the scene guys.
Doctor, you said you're going to examine the bodies of Nancy Lanza and her son Paul?
Yes. Yes.
You'll be doing that personally?
Yeah. just so happened it was my weekend.
Doctor, you said you can't confirm that the gunshot wounds of the assailant are self-inflicted. Is that because you don't have evidence?
I just...
You don't know? You haven't checked it yet?
I can't technically make that diagnosis until I examine him, okay? I mean, I don't want to belabor the obvious. That's what everybody believes at this point. But in terms of my fiduciary responsibilities, I haven't executed them yet.